Morning, friends. Buenos dias. I am all packed to head to the airport. I'm heading to Santiago's airport, and I'll be taking a flight today to Madrid. And then I'll spend the night in Madrid. And tomorrow midday, late morning, midday, I will fly from Madrid to Montreal and then Montreal home. And ironically, with the time change, I'll be home by 8 p.m. tomorrow night, which is crazy when you're doing a full day of travel. Anyway, I wanted to come on and share with you. So today is officially day 39. And the way that initially I had intended on my birthday being day 40. But, things adjust a little bit here and there, but I'm still counting 40 days. Why not? Because the travel is still part of it. So today is technically day 30. Tomorrow, my final travel day, and when I arrive home is day 40. So I titled this one of the biggest lessons of all. I don't know that it's the biggest, but it's one of the biggest. Came yesterday, technically not on the Camino. However, within the 40 days, and while experiencing the heritage, some of the heritage sites and some of the ancient sites that are related to the Camino, things that kind of help us piece it together. And because I get to choose, right? Because walk your way, I get to choose that it may not be part of the book, but I thought it was important to share because that's what I've been doing the entire time, is coming in and being vulnerable and open and candid with you and sharing. And I thought that it was important to do that with this lesson. Sorry, my throat doesn't hurt or anything. It just hasn't woken up yet. Maybe I need to be walking, which interestingly enough, yesterday while on the bus tour, and I will post photos about yesterday. It was fantastic, even though it rained all day. And it's raining again all day today. Madrid is supposed to be mid-70s and sunny, and I am here for that because it's been a while since I've seen the sun. Anyway, so one of the biggest lessons, here it is. There are cliche terms and cliche phrases that we've heard, but until it's like that old, I don't know if you've heard this or not, but in the arena that I have played in for the last 15 plus years, 16 years, whatever it is, there's this analogy that you can read all the books about Peru, but you don't experience Peru until you've been to Peru, right? I could read all the books about the Camino. You can watch all of my stories about the Camino, but you don't know the Camino until you've experienced the Camino. And you experience it your way, right? That's what we've been talking about the entire time. So one of those experiences I talked about on the live video, the day before yesterday when I arrived, on the 30th, on September 30th, I talked a little bit about how, and you saw me, if you watched that video, around minute 14 and a half, you saw me kind of piece together that it wasn't about the destination for me. It was about the journey. It's still very spiritual. And a lot of people get to Santiago and they have emotion because of Santiago de Compostela and the cathedral. And for me, it was all about the destination the entire time, right? So another one of those cliches, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And we hear that and we think we know what it is. It wasn't, really until I pieced it all together, and even since then have been kind of thinking back on that journey and what that really meant to be. And I have my Compostela, my stamps, and I have my books. I'm going to go back and kind of make some notes about the stamps and where I got them along the way, and because that is really meaningful to me. So it really wasn't until I kind of pieced it together and experienced it for myself that I can speak so deeply now to the truth of that statement, that it isn't about the destination, it's about the journey, right? And it doesn't need to be this magnitude. Of course, there are other things that have been in my life where I've reached the goal or reached the destination. And then how quickly, friends, do we move on to the next thing? Because at that point, maybe we're not consciously realizing it, but we've reached that end goal and then go, okay, now what? Because we've been focusing on the destination rather than it being about the journey. So to me, that's where that quote kind of speaks truth, is in the moments of the journey, can we appreciate and be in the journey, right? So that's certainly an important piece. But the one I want to share with you about now is one that it hit me like a freaking ton of bricks last night, alone in my room in the middle of the night, trying to sleep. Well, late at night, it was between 12 and 1. Trying to fall asleep, but there was so much noise. The rain had finally stopped late at night, and people were out enjoying themselves. That's something else too that I want to talk about regarding magnifying oneself, but that is for another time. I made some notes about that, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. And the saying is, "There's no place like home." There's no place like home, right? And I don't know about you, but the first place I remember hearing that was Wizard of Oz. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. And, or home is where the heart is, or whatever, whatever rendition of that you want to connect with, but there's no place like home, right? And for me, home is a person, and that person is my husband. And it wasn't always that way. It has been always that way with him. But some of you know, and I've shared a little bit along the path as well, but some of you know some of the experiences that I've had, and that I've been married and divorced 3 times. And, I have a beautiful daughter who's now 27, and she is everything to me as well. And I have some really special family members that I care deeply about. And Lindsay, my husband, is the person who he feels like home to me. He feels like home to me. And yesterday, even though I had such a fantastic experience going to see these sites, even though, again, it was raining and everything, like I mentioned, and very foggy at the lighthouse. We couldn't see much, which I have some analogies for that too. Like, it was lesson and blessing after lesson and blessing yesterday. It was just all day sprinkled in. Such a good day. But at the end of the day, it was such a remarkable day. And let's be honest, part of it is being distracted, right? By going to see all of these things. You have cohorts on the bus with you. But what's really interesting is when we stop at a place, everyone is with their person. And I was the only one who didn't have a quote person, whether it's a husband or a spouse or a friend or a brother or whatever. I was the only one who didn't have a person. So off I go explore, and I go do my thing. And I have no problem doing that. I've been doing that for the last 6 weeks, right? But at the end of the day, and what I realized is, especially because it was my birthday, and so many of you shared messages, whether it came through Messenger or on a post, and commenting. I received a number of texts and a number of voicemails. And all of that is beautiful, and I receive it, and I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for all of your support and your love and your kindness. And even Lindsay, my husband, tagged me in a post that was sweet and beautiful. And at the end of the day, all I wanted to do, all I realized, is that I just wanted to spend my birthday with him. If he's here, if I'm there, it doesn't matter. There's no place like home. And home is where the heart is, right? So there's that cliche, both a little bit cliche, right? But again, I don't think we really understand it and can embrace it and can appreciate it until we've had the experience. I can read that quote, but until I experience it and understand what's happening, I don't really take it in on a deeper level. And last night, after an incredible day, sitting in my hotel room by myself on my birthday, the only thing I wanted was to be with my husband. After everything that's happened, that's the only thing I wanted, because there's no place like home. Home is where the heart is. And especially, I know it was heightened because of my birthday. And so that is a really interesting dynamic that I got to experience, quite frankly. And candidly, it was tough. Last night was tough. I had such a remarkable day. And then to have, that journey of, I don't have a word yet for it. It wasn't necessarily sadness or hurt or frustration or anger, or it was just this, like, I ended up sending him a message and said, I have learned my lesson. I don't want to be away from you on my birthday. I downplay it some, but also not. I love my birthday, and I love getting to share it in a meaningful way with people that I really, really care about. And the people on the bus on the tour yesterday were fantastic. I won't give you the whole story behind, but how it came out. It happened to be someone else's birthday a few days ago, and then we got to talking about birthdays, and someone looked at me and said, well, when's your birthday? And I said, well, my birthday's today. And they ended up telling our tour guide, and she had the entire bus sing. And so they were great, and people kept coming up to me and wishing me a happy birthday, right? But it's not your people. It's not the person that I chose to spend the rest of my life with. It's not where my heart is. And so I learned a valuable lesson. And for me, that lesson is going forward. Maybe I travel on my birthday. We've done that before. But if I'm traveling on my birthday, I'm taking my husband with me because that is meaningful to me. So just a couple of those, drop in cliche statements that we think we know, but I don't think we really embrace them until we experience them, or as Abraham Hicks would say, the contrast of them, right? Experience the contrast of them, because sometimes in order for me to understand, this is an easy analogy, in order for me to understand hot water, I need to understand cold water, right? So in order for me to understand the simplicity of there's no place like home, or home is where the heart is, or fill in the blank, in order to really understand that and take that in, you have to understand the opposite of it and the lack of it, let's say, and kind of lean in that way. And I think that's part of why, let's go back to the Peru thing. You can read about Peru, but you're not experiencing Peru until you go to Peru, right? So reading about Peru is the lack of Peru. When you have Peru, it's a different experience. The contrast of it is different, right? Similarly to what I was sharing the other day, that it's not the destination, it's the journey. And I we think we know those words and how impactful they are, but I don't think we really know it until we've maybe experienced it on such a deeper level. So anyway, I thought it would be meaningful to come in and share that, and maybe you've experienced something similar, and I think it's important that we put words to that and talk about it. And at first I felt embarrassed and ashamed, like, I'm in Spain. I just finished walking the Camino, and I should be celebrating and I should be delighted. And all I really wanted was to have my husband next to me and snuggle, or be together on the couch, or, just like hold his hand or see something with him. It doesn't even need to be in Spain. And so it's interesting that dynamic, that push-pull. And I realized that if I was feeling some of that, it's important for me to come in and put words to it, because one of the things that I always want to do is I always want to be open and vulnerable and candid and say, here's the truth of what I'm experiencing. Maybe you're feeling it too. And if you have felt it, it's okay. It's okay. Let's just put some words to it and lean in, because that's how we all get to grow and shift and change and become even better people. Because once I realized that that's what's going on, I was able to go back to him and explain and tell him, like, I'm sorry that I made you feel bad, or as if you didn't do enough. It was not about you not doing enough. It was about me not realizing how important it was to me, and voicing that, and leaning into that or understanding that. But now I know, right? And so going forward, next year gets to be a different story, and there will be beautiful memories from this too, no doubt. So it's just really interesting. Anyway, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna head to the airport, and we will connect soon. I'll share some photos from yesterday, because it really was cool, and the place that I got to visit were really, really, really neat. So I'll talk to you soon. Bye, friends. It says I have a slow connection, so I'm waiting for that to go away before I can finish it. There it is. Okay, bye, friends.